From the CSI Baseball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet presents NCAA Division II baseball coverage live on the ECC network. We have gotten underway just a bit early as first pitch was scheduled for 12 p.m. and the first pitch of the game is over for a called strike one to the leadoff hitter for the Mercy College Mavericks, Ryan Saltzman. This is Joe Foreman alongside Nick Durst on the call of CSI Dolphins baseball as Kehoe misses for ball one.
Joe, it is stupendous to be here with you today. Doubleheader action, just like a two-night WrestleMania. 2 games here today.
Game 1 scheduled for 9 innings. Game 2 scheduled for 7 innings in this East Coast Conference matchup between the Dolphins and Mavericks. Ryan Kehoe, the starting pitcher for the College of Staten Island, has taken the mound. He's fallen behind 2-1 against Ryan Saltzman, and Saltzman bounces that one just foul down the third base line. Kehoe on the season comes in, having appeared in 6 games, including 3 starts. He's pitched to a 7.27 ERA with a 1.85 whip, and his 2-2 pitch is taken up high for ball 3. And that pitch misses for ball 4 to Saltzman, who will take first base with a leadoff walk. Nico Liguri will be the number 2 hitter for the Mavericks. We do apologize for having to cut our audio feed. We are communicating with a third member of our booth that was not on the schedule as far as we know, but Nick and I are in the confines of a very small booth.
Never say never, Joe.
It's about to get very crowded in here after this half inning as Kehoe will check on the runner over at first. The rest of the numbers on Kehoe are as follows. 17 in the third innings. He's allowed 23 base hits, 16 runs. 14 of those earned. He's walked 9 and struck out 13. 76 opposing batters, hitting .303 against him, as that's fouled away by Liguri.
Dolphins today, Joe, and they're all baby blues.
Thoughts?
Well, if you look at it right now, and I'll give you my thoughts after this pitch here, which is about to be delivered as the runner is checked.
And that's chopped on the ground over to first. Stepping on the bag is Kalika. Throw to second. Hits the runner, but he did not slide through the base and is tagged out. A very unconventional double play as the Dolphins record 2 outs on a 3-3-4 double play.
Nice job there defensively by Kalika to make that stop and throw it over to second base and hits the runner. Runner is shocked and then doesn't get up and gets tagged out. And great job there by the umpire in the B slot, getting over there in position to stay with it to make the call.
Well, Nick is our resident expert umpire, something we needed earlier in the week over at softball, as that's hit well out to left center field, but settling underneath it is Castiglione, and he makes the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. No runs, a walk drawn in the inning by the Mavericks. They fail to score as the Dolphins turn a 3-3-4 double play to help Ryan Kehoe to the top half of the first, and we are scoreless.
You Know 'Em Right is the podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, entertainment, and pop culture. On the show, hosts Nick and Joe walk guests through the retelling of their humble beginnings, covering an array of topics from specific interests and hobbies to personal opinions regarding each facet of their industry. You Know 'Em Right offers insight on how to adapt and advance, and offers alternative advice as opposed to a one-size-fits-all strategy. Above all else, the number one goal of You Know 'Em Right is to offer listeners an exclusive behind-the-scenes vantage point not found anywhere else through its increasing list of professional connections. With a following that continues to grow daily, You Know 'Em Right is transforming into a must-listen podcast in the right place at the right time. Find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. You do not want to miss an episode of You Know 'Em.
And we're back from the CSI Baseball Complex. No score heading into the bottom half of the first inning. And our conversation about the Dolphins' uniform selection today was interrupted by that 3-3-4 double play. And Nick, what are your thoughts on the All Baby Blues?
Well, Joe, if you look closely, and it's tough to see with the naked eye, and obviously our camera angle's not that great here, but you'll see when the leadoff batter, Jake Myers, comes to the plate. The pants blue is different than the jersey top blue. And for me, that makes a color disaster, but, we got to do what we got to do here, and I do appreciate the tribute to all in the medical field as we continue to wear the baby blue pants, the scrubs, as we like to call them here in the booth.
I'll have to take a look now. I did not realize that the blue in the pants was not the same as
a little lighter.
The jersey tops. I can see it, but it's such a small difference. It's really tough for me to distinguish that.
Mercy with the gray on. I like it. The duct tape type of look.
So two solid uniforms for these two teams today as Jake Myers steps into the box. Myers has seen his season get off to a great start. He comes in hitting at .414 on the season. That is good for second on this Dolphins team. He's also second in on-base percentage, runs scored with 17, hits with 24, and slugging at .534. Count on the Dolphins' second baseman, even at 1-1 strike. And the pitch from Anthony Bergio is down and in. Two and one the count. And the Mavericks lefty delivers. That's bounced on the ground over to second. Played on the backhand by Asaro, and he throws over to first in time to get Myers for the first out.
Nice job there by Asaro. Makes it look routine. Wasn't that easy, though, going to the backhand. Be able to throw out Myers, though, in plenty of time as he throws the ball over to first.
We've seen the backhand doom many an infielder here at the College of Staten Island, especially in the last broadcast where the field conditions were a bit suspect in the corners. Two problem areas behind first and third base, and especially over at third, we saw the infielders having a lot of trouble fielding the ball on a bounce.
Field looks good, though, today.
Looks great.
Obviously, it was tarped because we had a lot of rain Wednesday night and Thursday morning.
Dominic Castiglione is the batter, and he's quickly ahead in the count. 2 balls and no strikes.
As far as the ground crew is concerned, excellent job with the lines down by the foul poles. Usually hard to see. Those lines are super white, and we know the umpire and crew appreciates that.
And Castiglione is quickly ahead. 3 balls and no strikes. Dom comes in, the only Dolphin who has started all 19 games. He leads the team in OPS, runs scored, hits, walks, and on-base percentage, and he will draw his 16th walk right there, and will also increase that on-base percentage just a bit.
Takes that walk to continue, and he's the team leader in walks, as we did mention, so nice job there by him just to get on base.
Shendi Ulaj will be the batter. Ulaj comes in, hitting at .360. And he hits one out to right field, chasing Ligori back toward the wall. He can't make the play. That ball rolls to the base of the fence. Being waved home is Castiglione. The relay throw misses the cutoff man. And getting back into second base safely with an RBI double is Shendi Ulaj. The Dolphins have an early 1-0 lead.
Welcome to Tanger. Great job there by Ulaj to smack that one into right field. And the Dolphins there pull ahead here to start this game.
Ulaj jumping right on the first pitch to register his team-leading 17th run batted in. He also came in leading CSI in slugging at .540 and increases that just a bit with another extra base hit. His 4th double of the year. That's tied for the team lead as Stephen Kalika takes down in the dirt for ball 1. Kalika comes in hitting at 286. Two looks over the shoulder by Bergio, and time was granted to Kalika in the batter's box.
Dolphins looking to snap a 4-game losing streak. As we turn the page to April, looking for better things this month.
The Dolphins dropped 2 games to Mercy College yesterday on the road. However, one of those games was a scrimmage. That was game 2. So that game does appear on the record, but will not count in the conference standings. Both games today do count. As the 1-0 to Kalika finds the outside corner for a called strike 1. But just another reminder, games played by the teams in the East Coast Conference against CSI do count in terms of postseason seeding. Dolphins not eligible for postseason play until next year. As Kalika lines one the other way, but that's hit right to the shortstop, Caballero, and Ulaj is forced to hold at second.
That ball there just kind of hung up a little. It is pretty windy out there today, no doubt about that. Currently wind blowing from west to east at this point, so we'll keep an eye on that. But you could see that before when Ulaj's big hit, the wind definitely blowing out to its right field.
2 away now in the home half of the first inning, and Pat Gardner will be the batter. Gardner hitting at 220, pops up the first pitch he sees into the seats, and that lands right in front of us.
Gardner also has pitched a little bit this season, gotten to 3 games.
Nick, you weren't here, but we almost had another ball into the booth during our last broadcast. It missed.
Boy, oh boy.
That's right. It missed by no less than 4 inches. As that pitch is on the inside corner for a called strike to Gardner, and he's quickly in an 0-2 hole. But the ball hit the very top of the backstop along that metal frame and bounced back into play. If that ball had cleared that backstop, it was headed straight for me here in the booth.
Well, luckily we got these windows here to give us some sort of protection when they are closed.
And Gardner was fooled by that breaking ball. He looks at strike 3 called, but the Dolphins do pick up a run in the bottom half of the first. 1 base hit in the inning. They strand Ulaj in scoring position at second. Through 1, CSI leads Mercy 1-0.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can. And then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And we're back from the College of Staten Island. 4, 5, and 6 due up for the Mavericks in the top half of the second inning. And the CSI offense has handed Ryan Kehoe an early 1-run lead as a leadoff walk turns into an RBI double by Shendi Ulaj as he drove one deep into the right field corner, chasing Dominic Castiglione all the way home from first base to give the Dolphins an early lead.
Now batting for the Mavericks.
Great job of hitting there on off to our lead, and as always, Joe, expect a lot of offense here at the CSI Baseball Complex.
We were talking about it right before we came on the air, but you and I covered the last Dolphins game against St. Thomas Aquinas College here at home. I called 6 innings of that game. You called 3. I called 22 runs scored in a 12-10 game. You called 0.
Well, we got the good pitchers duel there for those 3 innings.
Really remarkable, and perhaps nearly as remarkable as the comeback by the Spartans, but we won't talk about that, as Nolan Giblin lines that one into center field for a base hit, and the Mavericks have the leadoff man on in the second.
Just a nice job there of hitting by Giblin, taking what the Giblin him and just knocks it up the middle for a base hit.
Now batting the left fielder, number 16, Robert Wooten.
That will bring up Robert Wooten. Wooten comes in, hitting at 247. Giblin, who just got on, is the team leader in many key offensive categories, as the first pitch is taken by Wooten for ball 1. Giblin leads the team in average OPS, home runs, RBI, slugging, and on-base percentage. Wooten, the team leader in walks and strikeouts. Also second in runs batted in with 17. Ulaj playing a couple of steps in at third as the runner was going on the pitch, and that may have saved the Mavericks from a double play. As Wooten is thrown out, Giblin advances to second, and the Mavericks have the tying run in scoring position with 1 out.
No doubt about it, Joe. Cipoletti was playing up the middle there, anticipating the steal, and Giblin takes off, and Cipoletti is forced to go towards third base to make that play. If Cipoletti's straight up, Dolphins probably turn 2.
Giblin did have 6 stolen bases in 7 tries this year, so he's someone familiar with running, as that's taken up high by Justin Glenister for ball 1. Glenister, a 242 hitter. Look over towards second by Kehoe. And that pitch bounces in. Good block by Kehoe behind the plate, as Ryan Kehoe is being caught today by his brother Michael.
The Kehoe connection. How many times do you think these two guys in their backyard or at the schoolyard had a catch just like this?
Now, if they were anything like me when I was young, I would always be the one who insisted on being the pitcher in that catch. The amount of time that my father spent in a catcher's crouch back when I was young to catch my pitching in the backyard is something I appreciate a great deal.
Catching is not easy.
No, hence why, even though Mike Piazza was my favorite player growing up, I decided to never be a catcher. As that's in the dirt, the runner heads for third, and Giblin is in standing.
Well, Kehoe was able to block the pitch there from Kehoe, but got away just enough there that allowed Giblin to take off for third.
3-0 the count on Glenister, who did come in tied with Wooten for the team lead in walks with 9. And he takes a strike.
Worth noting here that Glenister, Staten Island native, so making his return here to his homeland.
Glenn Glenister, a former Dolphin, as that's chopped over to short. Cipoletti can't make the stop on the dive, and I don't know if he had to dive, but I think that's going to go down as the second Mavericks base hit. It will. The tying run comes in to score, as there was never any doubt about that, and we're now even at 1.
Number 10, James Matutak.
Tough play there for Cipoletti.
James Matutak will be the batter. His team very quickly evens up the score at 1 after the Dolphins took an early lead, and he fouls the first pitch back. Matutak with 38 at-bats this year, has 9 base hits, comes in hitting at 237. Mercy, as a team, comes in hitting at 270 on the season. Count even on Matatat at 1 ball and 1 strike. And that's down in the dirt for ball 2.
Mercy's certainly making Kehoe work here, throwing a good number of pitches early on.
Kehoe had a lot of his attention diverted towards the base paths. Glenister hasn't attempted a stolen base this year, as that's ripped foul down the left field line. So maybe Kehoe could focus a bit more on the batter here.
Glenister, the catcher, most likely not a threat to run. You don't see many catchers stealing bases other than me back when I used to play.
JT Realmuto every once in a while, as that's taken downstairs.
Certainly.
That's about it, though.
I think Murphy on the A's, I think, as a stealer. It's a lost art, stealing across the game for the most part.
Count is full on Matatat. Glenister is not running, and Matatat takes ball 4.
Matatat with a nice at-bat there. Had the big foul ball there, but patient enough that he's able to take the pitches and walk. And we're going to have our first mound visit of the afternoon. Joe, as we got a second here, the listeners very curious what your travel plans are this evening.
Well, for those who have listened throughout the season, they know where I'm headed for WrestleMania. I'm jumping in the car as soon as this game is over.
Quick stop at 7-Eleven.
Of course. Maybe some Taco Bell.
Ooh.
I know that's a divisive opinion. I've gotten very mixed reviews from our colleagues regarding my eating habits, but
I'm more of a Moe's guy.
I do agree Moe's is better. Now, Taco Bell is less than 30 seconds from my destination in Long Island, where I watch all of the WWE premium live events.
The question is, will the host that's hosting you, your cousins, will they be ordering food?
They sure will. I have not been briefed
Little
on
Taco
the
Bell
choices.
pregame.
I've not been briefed on the
It's a 2-night
choices.
event, so you have to figure probably gonna get pizza one night, wings the other night, if I had to guess.
I think that'd be a wise move. As Nathan Rodriguez steps into the box, the go-ahead run now in scoring position. Kehoe has surrendered 2 base hits and 2 walks in this game. And that catches the inside corner to Rodriguez for a called strike 1.
Glenister actually getting a great jump there at second base on the release. Something to keep an eye on here. Might be able to try to score anything into the outfield.
Those extra few steps could be the difference. And that's down in the dirt for ball 1. Kehoe behind the plate has been forced to block quite a few tough pitches.
Very tough in these conditions to grip the ball well as a pitcher. When it's so cold, it takes a while to warm up, get that numbness off the fingers.
And that's ripped into right field for a base hit. Glenister is being waved home. The throw from Gardner is cut off, and the Mavericks have taken a 2-1 lead on an RBI single by Nathan Rodriguez.
We'll have mercy, Joe. Rodriguez there with a nice piece of hitting, able to knock that one in to right field, and Mercy College goes ahead 2-1 here.
Frankie Asaro will be the batter. 9th place hitter for the Mavericks. Asaro comes in hitting at .225. 9 of 40 at the plate this year. Has a chance here in an RBI spot. The corner is about halfway in for the Dolphins. The middle infielder's playing back for a chance to turn 2. Oh, and 1 the count on the Mavericks second baseman. And Kehoe will check on the runner Rodriguez over at first. Rodriguez has attempted just 1 stolen base this year. He was unsuccessful. I could definitely see them trying to run here and maybe induce a rundown. We'll see as that pitch is taken outside for ball 1. Here comes the 1-1. And that's a half swing. That ball's chopped foul. And Asaro is behind 1-2.
Check swing there. Wasn't sure what to do. Luckily for him, it goes into foul territory.
The next pitch for Kehoe will be number 34. Long look in. Here comes the 1-2. And that swing is held up, but it is strike 3 called on the outside corner. A good breaking ball from Kehoe to set down Asaro looking, and there are 2 away.
Asaro confused there, didn't know what to do, but ultimately ends up being a strike and it's punched out.
Well, I wasn't sure if they were going to ring him up for the half swing or on a called strike 3. I believe the call was strike 3 on the outside corner, no swing, but I'm not certain from here as they check on the runner at first. Rodriguez once again.
It's Kehoe's first game pitching since he came in relief against Stack on March 25th.
That pitch sails up high.
In that game, he gave up 2 hits and 3 earned runs and walked 2.
We know what inning those runs were allowed in.
9th inning.
Sure were. And the runner is going. Now, will they try and get the run down? They
Gotta
will.
do something here.
And the Dolphins now in a predicament as we have runners between first and second. Throw behind the runner at third, and he is safe. That is one of the toughest calls I've ever had, as we had 2 runners halfway between 2 different bases, first and second, third and home. And the Dolphins execute that rundown pretty well, as neither runner is able to advance.
If we get a moment, we'll take a replay at that, and I'll kind of walk you through there and, with what went right, what went wrong.
We'll get another look after this pitch. Long looking again from Kehoe, and the 1-1 is off the outside corner. Now, that pitch looked awfully similar to the called third strike in the previous at-bat.
Got a quick look here at the rundown. I think the thing here is once Cipolleti catches that, Joe, I think Kalika has to come running towards the runner because they get the out there. The inning's over.
That pitch is swung on and missed by Saltzman for strike 2. And I agree with you, Nick. That's very tough in the moment. But that runner on first obviously is not your concern. You're trying to make sure you get the out before the run scores. And like you said, if Kalika comes up behind the runner, there's no way he can get into a rundown.
Right, the runner on third wasn't even breaking for the plate there.
The runner was going on that pitch, and Rodriguez will take second base on the ball in the dirt. Count is now full on Ryan Saltzman. Kehoe in danger of issuing his third walk. Nico Liguri would be next. Here comes the payoff pitch. And that one's lined into left field for a base hit. Burkhead fields it. His throw is coming to the plate. Rounding third is Rodriguez, and the throw is cut off as the Mavericks have jumped out to a 3-run lead on a 2 RBI single by Ryan Saltzman.
Saltzman saltzing that ball there, ripping that into left field, and a 2 RBI hit for him to push Mercy ahead 4-1.
That is a big hit for the Mavericks as the momentum of this game right now is riding on that at bat. Though first base was open, so that could have changed with a walk, but the Mavericks come up with the big 2-out RBI base hit and extend their lead to 3 runs. Also, how big is that stolen base on the ball in the dirt now? As this could very well be a 3-1 game instead of a 4-1 game.
Certainly could come back to haunt the Dolphins.
We also had a conversation off the air about superstition, and we find out how superstitious the Dolphins were if they came back out in the blue pants here at home. They were previously unbeaten in the blue pants before last week here on their home field. That changed against Stack, and now they're behind by 3 in the second. Runner going. That's chopped over to first. Kalika has it. Kehoe over to cover just in time to retire Ligori for the final out of the inning, but not before the Mavericks take a 3-run lead with a 4 spot in the top half of the second. They strand one on base, but they now lead CSI 4-1 heading to the home second.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we are back from the CSI baseball complex. The Dolphins' lead is gone. They entered the inning ahead by 1. They now trail by 3 as John Castiglione will lead things off for CSI in the bottom half of inning number 2. 6, 7, and 8 due up for CSI. And the 1-0 catches the outside corner for a called strike 1.
Bergio currently in a 1-1 count. He's given up 1 hit, 1 run, 1 earned run, 1 base on ball, and 1 strikeout.
For Castiglione, today's start is his 7th as he takes a big swing at that pitch and misses for strike 2.
With Castiglione up, Joe, I got to ask you, and you've been here longer than me, is this the first time in the history of CSI baseball that we have 2 pairs of brothers on the same team?
I might be the wrong person to ask that question as that's hit toward the right field line. The wind carries it into the corner, and Ligori makes the running catch.
Beautiful job there by Ligori to stick with that in the wind. As I mentioned earlier, the wind is blowing out to right field. Going into that bullpen area there, tremendous job by him, and great fundamentals using the 2 hands. Love to see it.
Off the bat, I thought that was a routine fly ball, and that was my mistake, as here at the College of Staten Island, there is no such thing as a routine fly ball.
Absolutely not. It's all opened here. So the wind will be howling. Cipoletti to the plate here. Last time we saw him on our broadcast, 3 strikeouts, but he had a huge home run.
That home run is his only long ball of the year. And that's chopped on the ground to the left side. Going to be a tough play. Charging in is Caballero, and his throw is in time. What a play.
Tremendous job there by Caballero to stick with that as Giblin was coming across for that. Unable to get it. Caballero sticks with it, picks it up, fires it over to first base, and able to get Cipoletti by a step.
Tremendous play by the Maverick shortstop, and we've seen 2 nice defensive plays by Mercy College in the field during this half inning. As Brian Burkhead takes up high for ball 1. Burkhead just 9 of 54 on the season. He's appeared in 17 games and started 15 times coming into today's action. That ball's chopped foul. One ball and 2 strikes the count on the Dolphins left fielder. Lefty on lefty here As Bergio delivers the 1-2 pitch, and that's chopped down the first baseline. Foul ball.
Oh, no argument there from the first baseman. So, good call.
After the softball we watched here on Thursday, I came out of that game saying to my broadcast partner, Nick Bavona, you know, Nick, I'm somewhat of an umpire myself after the game was over, and we had a lot to say about what occurred on that particular day as Burkhead holds up the swing there. We had an infield fly that was called on a ball hit 30 feet into the outfield. I've never seen that.
Poor call.
And that pitch is way outside. It skips to the backstop, and the count is now full. Bergio looking for his second punch out of the game. Burkhead will try and keep the inning going. And Burkhead is tied up. Did he go around? He did. As it looked like he may have been hit by the pitch, but Burkhead could not hold up the swing as he tried to get out of the way. Mike Morrow is not happy.
Well, what I will say here, Joe, is if you do swing and the ball hits you, the swing takes precedent over being hit by the pitch. From my angle here, Joe, it looked like he certainly did go around.
Now, I agree with you. He definitely went around. The question is, did the ball hit Burkhead or the bat?
Well, it's a good thing we got replay, and we will take a look right now. I will slow it down a little bit, but you could see the umpire, as we go to the wide angle at the end there, was very quick to jump up to call it for strike three. So here you go. Here's the pitch. Comes on. He swings. So at that point, it doesn't matter if it hits him. He went through, and the ball certainly was past him after the fact that he's crossed the plate. So, in my opinion, good call there by the umpire.
Well, I defer to you on all umpiring calls, and with that, we'll head to a quick break. Dolphins trailing 4-1.
Car is damaged. Where you take it is your decision. But insurance companies would like you to think otherwise. While they may have a lot of pull, it may not always be in the best interest of your car. Your car will be fixed right and on time. What insurance company can argue with that?
Call Dependable Auto Body at 718-447.
And we're back from the CSI Baseball Complex with the Dolphins trailing by 3 runs at the start of the third inning. Leading things off for the Mavericks in the top half of inning number 3 will be Jaden Caballero. And Caballero made a great play in the field during the last half inning. Will now get a chance at the plate.
Caballero with that nice move there to get around Giblin, who was trying to cut him off. He picks up the ball, throws over first for the out in the previous inning.
And the first pitch to Caballero is down in the dirt for ball 1. Ryan Kehoe is already up to 44 pitches in this game.
Wonder how long the leash is going to be. His season high was 7 innings, so other than that, a lot of 1 to 3 inning outings.
If I'm not mistaken, that was a complete game, 1-run victory for Kehoe. He's behind here on Caballero, 2-0. That's chopped foul.
In that game, gave 6 hits, struck out 2.
Against Chestnut Hill, right?
Correct.
All right.
By far his best outing of the season.
Coming off of that outing, he was brought in relief against Stack. Now, we talked about it during the game, how he warmed up, sat down, warmed up again, sat down, and made his way to the dugout before ultimately coming into the game. As that ball's hit out to right center field, both outfielders converging on it, and Gardner makes the catch.
Gardner there loses his hat from the strong wind, but he's able to
Now batting.
overcome the odds there and still make the catch.
Giblin.
I think his hair may have something to do with that. As we see him lose the helmet on the bases, now he lost the hat in the outfield, and I think we've seen him lose a hat on the mound as well.
Kind of reminds me of your favorite player on the Phillies, the MVP, Bryce
That's
Harper.
right, MV3, my guy, Bryce Harper. I know that's not a popular opinion here in New York. Nolan Giblin is the batter. He singled in his first plate appearance and is behind here 0-1. Giblin way out in front of that breaking ball. Good pitch from Kehoe. Now we do have some exciting news about the broadcast and a segment that Nick and I hope to add beginning with our next home game, as we're going to have our assistant to the athletic communications coordinator, Marquise Pickering, who is also in charge of content creation here at the College of Staten Island, and of course, our buddy, the ACC, Joe Masha. We're going to have the two of them head down to some baseball practices and speak with some of the players. That's it on the ground to third, and Ulaj handles it cleanly, but his throw brings Kalika off of the bag, and that will be an E5.
The throw, just a little too much on that one there. Kalika, nice job to catch it, but the throw took him off the base.
So as I was saying, Marquise and Joe will head to some practices and speak with some of the new Dolphins, such as Ryan and Michael Kehoe, and get their thoughts on why they chose CSI, how it is to play for Coach Morrow, and some of the happenings with the program. But we'll have a feature that focuses on some of our new Dolphins who were recruited to the program following CSI's transition to Division II. So we're certainly excited about that, and that's something to look forward to for next week.
And if the ACC himself, Joe Masha, is the on-camera talent for this, if there is a host,
there won't be an on-camera talent.
Well, I was going to say we could start calling MCACC.
I don't think that's in the plans. Now, if they'd
think
like to have one of us come on campus and do that.
That'd be a good idea.
And the runner is going on the pitch. That vacates the right side, and that ground ball is through for a base hit.
Have to like that there, Joe. Great job by the coaching staff for Mercy. A little hit-and-run action there, perhaps, as the second baseman vacates his spot. And going to cover second base was Myers. Huge hole there. And that left the right side right open for Glenister, who's having a great start here to his return to CSI.
Glenister 2 for 2 with a couple of base hits. The Mavericks now have runners on the corners with 2 outs. And the first pitch to James Matatat misses for ball 1. Matatat walked his last time up. This is an out that Ryan Kehoe and the Dolphins have to get. Can't afford to fall behind by any more early in this game. And that pitch is in for a called strike 1. One and one the count on the Mavericks' first baseman. And he hits one well out to straightaway center, but Castiglione is waiting for it, and he makes the catch for the final out of the inning. The Mavericks strand a pair in the road third, but our score remains 4-1.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we're back from the College of Staten Island with the Dolphins still trailing by 3 runs heading into the home half of the 3rd inning. For CSI, it will be 9-1-2. Kehoe, Myers, and Castiglione due up.
Kehoe at the top of the order. Prime time here for the Dolphins to get something cooking here offensively.
And Michael Kehoe will make his way to the plate for the College of Staten Island as the Dolphins look to battle back from behind. CSI struck first in this game, but the Mavericks immediately answered with 4 runs in the next half inning. Very limited sample size for the Dolphins catcher Michael Kehoe at the plate, but he comes in 7 of 19, 368 at the dish. He's behind 0-1 here, and he takes off of the inside corner. Only 30 pitches to this point for Anthony Bergio. Averaged 14 per inning through the first 2. And that's hit to straightaway right. Liguori there waiting, and he makes the catch for the first out.
Great job right now by Bergio settling down after that first inning. Dolphins not having much luck against him at this point.
That will bring Jake Myers to the plate. Myers grounded out his first time. Myers, a former East Coast Conference Player of the Week, takes a call at strike 1. Back-to-back breaking balls looked at for strikes, and he's quickly behind 0-2. 2 good curveballs right on the inside corner from Bergio, and that breaking ball sails up high for ball 1. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. And that fastball backs Kehoe off the plate for ball 2.
Bergio has found some good commands here. Hasn't walked anybody in a while, and he's only given up 1 hit.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch. And that backdoor breaking ball just missed, and Bergio thought he had the call. So did I.
Definitely a close call there for sure.
I thought he'd get it. And that is in for a called strike 3 on the inside corner. And Myers can't believe it.
Perhaps a makeup call, Joe, for the previous one?
Now umpire. How prevalent are makeup calls? Do you ever engage in such a practice?
You try not to, but sometimes when you got a whole bench yelling at you from the pitch before, just mentally it happens.
And for you, it's sometimes a bench full of angry parents, as that's hit deep to right field by Castiglione within a couple of feet of the right field fence, but Liguori is there to make the catch. We'll talk more about the angry parents after the break, with the Dolphins trailing 4-1.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Before we went to break, Nick and I were on the topic of makeup calls as an umpire. And for those of you who don't know, Nick is an umpire. So, Nick, we were talking about angry parents. How much of a role can they play?
Well, I got to tell you, Joe, angry parents, especially at the 8-year-old level, they ruin the game for the kids. It's very difficult to deal with them.
And the Dolphins deal with Nathan Rodriguez very easily as that's lined straight to Kalika for out number 1.
Nice job there by Kalika being in position. So the problem is these parents, they are just screaming, they're egotistical, and that's why we're having an umpire shortage, because nobody wants to deal with that. When you're first starting umpiring, they put you with the 8-year-olds, and their parents are crazy. And as this pitch comes in, his ball, you got to deal with the 8-year-olds. You're behind the plate. You got to crouch down until your butt's hitting the floor to be behind them, and then you're all by yourself. So the parents give you a really hard time. They should back off a little bit. It's a major issue. But as far as makeup calls,
that pitch is in for a called strike.
I would say at the higher levels, when you're dealing with adults, they'd be more prevalent with the makeup call. But when I get a screaming parent or a coach yelling at me, that just makes me want to call more stuff against their team.
I don't blame you. As that's chopped back toward the mound, Kehoe has it, and the underhand toss retires a sorrow for the second out.
So I'm not saying I do that, but it's like if you're going to yell at the umpire, it's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to work. That's why there's a few things that always are going to tick off an umpire, which is a pitcher walking off the mound when I think it's a strike 3. Happened to me in my softball game this morning. It was called ball 4. Or when the batter thinks it's ball 4 and he starts walking to first base, usually it can be called a strike.
Now, Ryan Saltzman is the batter, and I have 2 very interesting umpiring stories myself, though I'm not an umpire, as Saltzman takes a called strike. But the first story was when I was probably 10 years old playing in a CYO league. We had umpires at that point. It was our first year with umpires at the age 10 level. I was hit on the jersey by a pitch, and it was called strike 3. So I didn't like that, as that's chopped through the middle for a base hit by Saltzman, and he will take the turn, but holds it first with a 2-out single. So called out on a pitch that hit the jersey.
Jersey is an extension of the body. So.
Correct. So I should have been on base. That happened. And then at the end of a game, I was in the field. I believe I was playing either shortstop or third base. And we had the final out of the game at second. The runner had been tagged out. He had never touched the base. And this particular player was crying because we were only 10 years old. So you make the last out of the game, you're crying.
Of course.
So he's crying next to second base as Nico Liguri takes a called strike. But the runner's crying. The umpire inexplicably calls him safe. Now, I'm not going to say what I said verbatim.
Mercy call.
But at 10 years old, that was the first time I have ever uttered profanity in public.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So he didn't hear it, the umpire, but let's just say it was a 3-letter phrase, and it is NSFW, so I can't repeat it, but that was the first time I had ever uttered any profanity in the public eye.
Wow, Joe.
Some will say, at 10 years old, that's impressive, but I was not happy, to put it mildly.
A lot of tears and vulgarity shed in the ball field, that's for sure.
And that one is blocked by Kehoe, but it gets away far enough that Saltzman moves over to second. So another opportunity for the Mavericks with a runner in scoring position. 2 outs. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Nico Liguri. And the 1-2 from Kehoe is on the inside corner for strike 3 called. That pitch looked awfully similar to the pitch that brought the previous half inning to a close, and Liguri didn't like it, but he is a strikeout victim for the final out of the inning. We head to the bottom of the 4th, but the Dolphins still trailing 4-1.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
And we're back from the College of Staten Island. Now, I did see a Mercy coach having a word with the home plate umpire, so I think it's safe to say that they were not happy with that call either. Now, Nick, I know you mentioned you umpire. You're there on your own. You're by yourself. You're taking the full force of any complaints that come from both dugouts, but this particular umpire behind home plate now has both teams unhappy. Is he counting down the outs until he moves to the infield and gives way to another member of his crew?
Undoubtedly. I mean, to me personally, everybody's got their own preference, but I don't like to be the home plate umpire as it makes things very challenging at times.
We are adjusting our scoreboard at the moment, so we'll get that taken care of as
Now batting for the Dolphins,
Joe Masha has come
the
in
third
and is
baseman,
working on that
number
at the moment,
24,
which is why our audio
Shendi
cut out.
Ulaj.
But Shendi Ulaj will lead things off for the Dolphins in the bottom of the fourth. Ulaj doubled home CSI's lone run. He also has the Dolphins' only base hit, and he takes a called strike.
Bottom four here, 4-1 game, a 1 count.
And the 0-1 pitch is on the inside corner, and Ulaj did not like it. These two teams becoming increasingly unhappy with the strike calls as that's bounced foul. Oh, and 2 the count on the Dolphins' third baseman.
Joe, there are some days I wish we had a booth cam.
That's every day for me. The issue is, one, the booth is a bit too small to frame it up properly. That's issue number one.
Could always bring back the Ricky Keeler cam from our viewers from soccer last season, not this past season, the year before. We'll be familiar with that.
They might be if they dig through some old broadcasts. And Ulaj takes out of the zone. That must have bent around the plate. I thought for sure that was strike 3. Wow. Count 2-2. And that's well outside for ball 3. Now, the first issue, as I mentioned, the limit on space we have here in this booth. It is not a large booth. Fits 2 comfortably. 3, not so much. As Ulaj grounds 1 to third, that's stopped by Giblin. His throw to first in time to retire Ulaj for out number 1. The other issue is we don't have an engineer. So you're doubling as our color commentator and our engineer. We've had games where I doubled as play-by-play an engineer with no color. And without an engineer, we are very limited with alternate camera angles and graphics and everything like that.
Potentially, maybe we can get a pregame for Game 2 on camera. We'll see. Wouldn't hold your breath, though.
I wouldn't either, because I'm not exactly sure how we can make it work with 2 functioning cameras. Where do we stand? What camera do we use?
We'd have to probably stand in front of our...
So we do it from indoors.
We have to turn the camera around and do it from indoors.
Well, if we slid the camera back, then we could do it from inside, right in front of the window.
Run the wires through the window.
Kalika lines out.
Where there's a will, there's always a form and formula way.
Can't argue with that. As Pat Gardner will come to bat with the bases empty and 2 outs, but we were very excited to add our on-court pregame for basketball this year. And outside of one incident where a former employee, our photographer, contacted the camera and knocked it out of place, I think it went very well.
There was also one time where men's soccer coach, Coach Tardy, was looking for some sort of envelope, and you had to run off the screen.
He was looking for documents. Now, did he find those documents on our side or the other side?
I mean, I couldn't imagine them being at the broadcast booth.
They might have been hidden under some paperwork at our desk, but either way, we had to put the pregame on pause. 2 balls and 1 strike the count on Pat Gardner, and that's grounded foul. Now, I think the MVP of our broadcast during basketball may very well be baseball's own Mike Morrow. Delivering hot pretzels no less than 3 times during the season. You can't beat that. Here comes the 2-2 to Gardner, and he swings to that pitch for strike 3. So the Dolphins have now gone scoreless each of the last 3 innings. Their deficit remains 3 runs heading to the 5th. Our score, 4-1 Mercy.
Stop to make sure someone is okay. Get in the way and disrupt the situation.
Notify an authority.
Or walk them home safely.
We can change the language around rape.
We can make campuses safer for our teammates, our friends, and our classmates.
We cannot be bystanders.
Taking action isn't always easy, but it's on us
to intervene.
Because we can.
Learn more and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Number 13, Jaden.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet with the Dolphins trailing 4-1 as we begin the top half of the 5th inning. Jaden Caballero will be the batter. He's 0 for 2. Has flown out twice, once to center and once to right. And the first pitch from Kehoe once again is down in the dirt.
On the season, Caballero came today. The second highest average on the team at 362. 17 runs scored with 34 hits, 6 doubles, 3 triples, and 2 home runs.
That's popped up. Shallow in the outfield, could be trouble, and Castiglione makes a great sliding catch. What a grab by the Dolphins center fielder.
Castiglione had to come a very, very, very far away, but luckily for him, that ball was in the air for a very, very long time. As we get another look at that here on your screen right now, that ball's popped up and counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds until he makes that catch.
If you couldn't tell by my voice inflection, I thought for sure that ball was getting down for a hit. That was a great play by Castiglione. What a catch. That will bring Nolan Giblin to the plate. He's 1 for 2, singled and reached on an error. And Kehoe misses low for ball 2. Kehoe has the opportunity here to make it 3 straight scoreless innings. Struggled through the second. And the Mavericks had a chance for more after that as well, but Kehoe appears to have settled down a bit. This now his 3rd pass through the Mercy lineup. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. And that's it on the ground to short, backhanded by Cipolletti. His throw to first in time for the 2nd out.
Nice job there by Cipolletti to get over that one, to make the strong throw over to Kalika at first
The left fielder,
to get the
16,
2nd out.
Robert Wooten.
That will bring up Robert Wooten. Wooten is 0 for 2. Grounded out and flew out in his 2 plate appearances. And Kehoe's pitch is grounded over to first. Sliding stop by Kalika, and his throw is toward the Mavericks dugout. It remains in play. So Kalika knocked the ball down and made the stop, but did not field it cleanly, had to rush the throw. and it was backed up nicely by Kehoe.
Now batting, the catcher.
Always a
number
tough
5,
play there at the lefty first baseman going to your right side, in the sense that you are automatically thinking about how you have to turn your body there to make the throw to first.
Perhaps that would make it easier to field the ball, but like you said, Nick, once he failed to field the ball and only knocked it down, having to turn and throw made it a near impossible play to get the runner over at first. As that pitch is in for a called strike one to Justin Glenister. Glenister has singled twice in 2 at-bats. Looking to make it 3 for 3 as that's hit into shallow left. Cipoletti moves back onto the outfield grass and makes the catch for the 3rd out. So the Mavericks pick up 1 hit in the inning. They strand 1, and heading to the bottom of the 5th, the Dolphins still trail 4-1.
You Know 'Em Right is the podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, entertainment, and pop culture. On the show, hosts Nick and Joe walk guests through the retelling of their humble beginnings, covering an array of topics from specific interests and hobbies to personal opinions regarding each facet of their industry. You Know 'Em Right offers insight on how to adapt and advance, and offers alternative advice as opposed to a one-size-fits-all strategy. Above all else, the number one goal of You Know 'Em Right is to offer listeners an exclusive behind-the-scenes vantage point not found anywhere else through its increasing list of professional connections. With a following that continues to grow daily, You Know 'Em Right is transforming into a must-listen podcast in the right place at the right time. Find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. You do not want to miss an episode of You Know 'Em.
John Castiglione steps into the box to begin the bottom half of the 5th, with his team trailing by 3 runs. Dolphins still with only 1 base hit in the game. That belongs to Shendi Ulaj. It was an RBI double back in the opening inning. As that's hit high into the air out toward right center, and Ligori settles underneath it to make the catch for the 1st out. One away for the Dolphins in the 5th, and Nick Cipoletti will be the batter.
Now batting, the shortstop, number 2, Nick Cipoletti.
Cipoletti is very much a feast or famine player, as he's either going to cause a lot of damage with the power, or the results might not be that great some other times, but definitely a big-time hitter.
I would love to see his numbers at the plate with men on base, because I have a feeling that at least here at home, those numbers are solid. On the season, he's hitting sub 200 right now and leads the team in strikeouts by a pretty wide margin. He has 22 strikeouts in just 61 at-bats. So that's over 1/3 of the time. And he takes down and in for ball 2. Against Bloomfield, he had a big bases clearing 3 RBI hit. He takes a called strike 2 here. Had a big home run against Stack to give the Dolphins some insurance at the time. It put them up by 4 in the late innings. Here comes the 2-2 pitch, and that's grounded to second. Played on the backhand by Asaro, and his throw is in time to retire Cipoletti for the 2nd out.
Cipoletti currently in a bit of a rut. I mean, he's looking like one of the 3 true outcome type of player that you hear so much about in today's game. And you can't really fault him, because he's watching and doing exactly what he sees in the major leaguers, where it's either home run, strikeout, or ground out. the majority of the time. Gone are the days, and you don't really see a coach too much at the younger level of, hey, let's use the field, go the opposite way, poke one in there. Now the game's very pull heavy.
I think a lot of that has been replaced by small ball at this level. At least that's what I've seen.
That's where we get the bunt. We haven't seen any bunt attempts today. I'm shocked.
There hasn't been any situation where I could have imagined either side would think about it, but I think a lot of that situational hitting to the opposite field or trying to pull the ball and using every tool at your disposal to move the runners along, I think a lot of that, as we've seen, has been replaced by bunting here at this level.
Absolutely.
And as you know, I'm no fan of bunting.
And I don't expect to see many bunts this season in the majors with the DH all across the board.
As that pitch sails over Brian Burkhead for ball 2. Burkhead struck out swinging in his first at-bat, was nearly hit by that pitch. In fact, I think he was hit by the ball, but he had already offered trying to get out of the way as he fouls back another. Dolphins have gone down quickly each of the last several innings, if I'm not mistaken. 1, 2, 3.
I almost hit him again there. Oh my goodness, he's getting out of the way here. He's got a big target on his head.
Sure looks that way. As the Dolphins have gone down in order each of the last 3 innings. This would make it 4 straight. And Burkhead pops that one up a mile high behind the plate, and easily making the grab is Glenister for the final out of the inning. So the Dolphins go down 1, 2, 3 yet again. Our score remains 4-1 through 5.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
We are back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins still trail 4-1 on the mound for CSI. Ryan Kehoe has put up 3 straight scoreless innings after giving up 4 in the second. But on the other side, Anthony Bergio has put up 4 straight scoreless for the Mavericks, and he only allowed 1 in the first. His team leads by 3.
Bergio has been tremendous here this afternoon. We'll see how far he's able to push it here, but right now, Dolphins are not fooling him at all. He's having no problem going against the Dolphins lineup.
Bergio back in the first inning allowed the only hit the Dolphins have mustered in this game. He has 4 strikeouts, has walked 1, and somehow has not hit a batter yet, as we saw him nearly hit Burkhead no less than 3 times in this game.
Batting for the Mavericks, the first baseman, number 10, James Matutat.
James Matutat will be the batter. Matutat is officially 0 for 1. He's walked and flew out in 2 plate appearances. Seven, 8, 9 due up for Mercy in this half inning, so Kehoe will hope to fare well against the bottom of the Mavericks lineup. And his first pitch is in for a called strike 1. This game continues to move right along.
Keep in mind, we did start before the scheduled first pitch time, but it is moving pretty quick.
By only about 3 or 4 minutes. Typically for baseball this year, we've come on the air about 10 minutes before first pitch, which today was scheduled for 12 p.m., as that's bounced foul. But
5 innings in an hour and 15 minutes so far this morning, now afternoon. What's the earliest you've called a game here, Joe?
I have to believe I've called a game at 11 a.m. once. It's very rare, but I think at least one time we've had an 11 a.m. start, at least once. I don't believe that we ever did a 10 a.m.
That'd be early.
It's possible, but I don't think so. Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Matutat, and that's hit up in the air. Will it stay in play is the question. And it will, as Kalika lost his footing and holds on.
Kalika there, what a very adventurous catch. Would like to see him use two hands there, but he's able to hold on to that one despite the slip. And the balls are getting hung up in the sky for quite some time this afternoon with the crazy wind here.
Hang time on these pop-ups and fly balls has been exceptional in this game to this point. And it made that play much more difficult on the Dolphins' first baseman. Nathan Rodriguez is the batter, and he takes a called strike on the inside corner. Rodriguez is 1 for 2. Has a single and a line out. Comes the 0-1. And that breaking ball's in for a called strike 2. Here comes the 2-strike offering from Kehoe. And that misses outside. Again, my pitch count is not official, but I have Kehoe in the ballpark of somewhere between 85 and 90 pitches. As he skips that one in for ball 2.
Can't imagine him going past the 7th, but this is his inning right now. No signs of anybody down in the Dolphins bullpen.
Kehoe's in a bit of a groove here. If the Dolphins can get some offense together, they can find themselves right back in this game quickly, the way Kehoe has pitched these last few innings. After getting ahead 0-2, he's now run the count full on Rodriguez. Here comes a 3-2 pitch. And that's a big swing by Rodriguez as he fouls that one back. Here comes another 3-2 pitch. And that's grounded over to first. Kalika nearly lost his balance, but he maintains the play and steps on first for the second out.
Very adventurous first 2 outs here for the inning for Kalika, but he's able to make the plays, and that is what counts. 2 outs.
2 away in the road 6th inning, and the 9th place hitter for the Mavericks, Frankie Asaro, will be the batter. Asaro is 0 for 2, has struck out and grounded out. He takes up high for ball 1. Looking ahead to the bottom half of the inning, the Dolphins will have 9, 1, and 2 due up. And the 1-0 to Asaro misses up and in for ball 2. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. There's a big swing and a miss by Asaro for strike 1. That's your typical 2-0 home run swing with 2 outs and the bases empty. Can't blame Asaro on that one as he pulls that one foul.
On average, Joe, how many home runs do you think you see at this stadium per game? So is it like 0.5?
Per
is
game?
It 1?
I would say...
I've never seen more than 1 in a game here.
For the last 2 seasons, which is the D2 years, my first 4 seasons were D3. In D3, I would say maybe 0.2 home runs per game. In D2, I'd say close to 1, maybe a little bit more. As Asaro is retired to end the top half of the 6th. When the Dolphins come to bat, they will still trail by 3. Our score 4-1.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag, like facing backwards and with like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad was like, we have a prodigy. So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
Michael Kehoe is the batter for the Dolphins, and he lines the first pitch of this half inning into left field for the second Dolphins base hit.
Kehoe breaking the drought here for the Dolphins, who have been going a few innings here without a hit. Being set down 1-2-3. Kehoe here looking to help his brother out. Kehoe, who has been pitching well as of late, and now up to the top of the lineup for the Dolphins with a one-time ECC Player of the Week, Jake Meyers.
Meyers is 0 for 2, grounded out and struck out. That strikeout a bit controversial as he hits one out to straightaway left. Wooten is underneath it, but he can't make the play through the sunlight, and that ball hits him in the foot. It's knocked away, but he tracks it down as the runner on third is heading home as the Mavericks commit 2 errors on the play.
Wow, Joe. Definitely 2 errors there on the lack of catch and the poor throw. So 2 E7s on one play, which allows the Dolphins here to score. Good hustle there by Ryan Kehoe to come around. Great job by Coach Morrow to hold and then send him. And the Dolphins now cut this lead in half. It's 4-2.
And once we have a break in the action, we'll unpack that play. Now, Nick, would you give an error on the failure to make the catch because the ball was kicked away? So I don't know if he ever contacted the ball before it hit the ground. The kick away allowed 1 extra base, and then the bad throw allowed a second.
From my vantage point here, the ball hit his foot on the way down.
Okay.
So it landed right on his foot, so I would give him the error on that.
Okay, so 2 errors on the play. Meyers stands over at first, and Castiglione fouls that pitch back.
Had that ball, let's say, just dropped in, you could be a little more lenient. But if it hits off your body part and you're camped under it, fortunately, I know it's tough with the sun, but you have to give the error there. Now, the official scoring at this point does not have any errors. It only has 1 error, I believe.
There should be 2, as Castiglione takes on the inside corner for a called strike 3, and that pitch has been called all game. Dom not too happy, but that will bring Shendi Ulaj to the plate. He is still the tying run at the dish. We'll get that scoring adjusted. Hopefully, our statistician got it right, though you said the live stats only show 1 error.
Yes.
Okay, so that has to be corrected.
Well, what do you think, Joe? I think definitely 2. And Ulaj,
100%.
by the way, 2 home runs this season, so he could tie this with 1 swing of the bat.
That leads the team. And he lines one into shallow right field. That will get down for a base hit. Meyers goes first to third. And Shendi Ulaj is 2 for 3 as Meyers took a big turn and nearly went too far.
I think Coach Morrow's thinking there, I believe he's coaching third, was let's try to force a throw. But it was a lot closer than we expected, and we're going to have a mound visit here for Mercy College. So, Joe, we can unpack that play some more again. But right now, that is crucial here. It's the Dolphins getting back into this, and the go-ahead run will come up to the plate here in Stephen Kalika.
What a turnaround for CSI as Kehoe got the inning started with a line drive base hit. Myers then hit a fly ball, the play we were just talking about, a mile high into left, and Wooten could not make the play through the sun. Now, as you said, Nick, if that ball hit his foot on the way down, that's an error. If that was not where the error occurred, it occurred right after as he kicked the ball away and allowed the runner on first, Kehoe, to go first to third. A poor throw then allowed Kehoe to score from third. That's error number 2. So we'll get that fixed in the stats. I'll head over down the hall after the break. But Stephen Kalika comes to the plate with runners on the corners, 1 out, and an extra base hit could possibly tie the score.
In the bullpen for the Dolphins, Brandon Leno was getting loose.
Still no action in the Mercy bullpen. Bergio up around 75 pitches now. Again, my pitch count not official, but it should be within 5 pitches or so. At the very most, I'd be 5 pitches off. Here comes the 0-1, and that's taken up and away. A nice crowd assembled here at the CSI Baseball Complex this afternoon. A lot of them hoping for a Dolphins base hit here as Kalika swings straight through that breaking ball, and Ulaj is allowed to steal second base without a throw.
Good base running by him there, noticing that the catcher, Glenister, was not paying him any attention.
You don't see that too often. Ulaj, not someone you'd expect to run, as Kalika fouls that one straight back.
Now you have the tying run in scoring position there, so huge base running there by Ulaj to get into scoring position. Second and third here with 1 out.
Ulaj had previously been 0 for 1 attempting stolen bases. Now a single could possibly tie the game as Kalika takes up and in for ball 2. Kalika on the season has 8 runs batted in. A chance for 1, maybe 2 more right here. Here comes the 2-2 from Bergio. And that's grounded through the right side for a base hit. Ulaj is being waved home, and he will score the tying run as that ball gets by Ligori, and that allows Kalika to advance to second. That is the third Mavericks error of the inning. It is a 2 RBI single and an advancement on the error for Stephen Kalika, and the Dolphins have tied the score at 4.
Number 11, Pat Gardner.
So we'll take a look here at the replay, and we'll let this run right here. So if we missed the first pitch of this at bat, we apologize, but tremendous job of hitting there by Kalika as he's able to rip that one into right field, and 2 runs will ultimately come in to score, and it's a tie game here, 4-4.
Seemingly out of nowhere, the Dolphins' bats have come to life in this game. They had been kept out of the hit column since the first inning, and in the 6th, they get even at 4. Gardner with a chance to give CSI the lead as he hits one out to left. Charging in is Wooten. He won't get there, and that's down for a base hit.
Tough play there for Wooten. He's playing deep with the lefty too. He's up more towards the center there, so has to come to the line there. Never really had a clean shot to catch that one.
Well, not only have the Mavericks hurt themselves with 3 errors in the inning, but they can't catch a break right now as everything the Dolphins make contact with is finding open space. Kehoe hit the ball hard. I believe Ulaj did as well, but that was it. A slow grounder through the right side by Kalika, plated 2, and a couple of bloops into left field. Both got down, one off the foot of Wooten for an error, the other one for a base hit by Gardner.
How big is that stolen base right now by Ulaj? Otherwise, we feel like that base is loaded with Dolphins down 1.
And John Castiglione is now ahead in the count 2-0, and that forced at any base that the Mavericks would have right now had Ulaj not stolen. Could be big. Two and 0 the count on the Dolphins' designated hitter. And Bergio's pitch is down low for ball 3. Castiglione firmly in the driver's seat here, 3-0. And he takes ball 4.
Bergio really, this is the first time all day he's been having any trouble, and looks like we're going to get some action stirring down there in the Mercy bullpen.
Well, how fitting is it that Nick Cipoletti is the batter? We spoke about it earlier, how much better he has been with men on base. He's 0 for 2 in the game, has grounded out twice, and a chance here for a big hit to give his team the lead.
Certainly, Cipoletti does not want to ground out once again. With the corners in here, could be a play at the plate.
And that's it up in the air out to center field. That should score a run. Tagging at third is Kalika. He heads home. The throw is cut off, and the Dolphins have taken the lead.
Sip, sip. Hooray! Sack fly for Cipoletti. He'll take it. Dolphins seemingly out of nowhere are Joe here with 4 big runs to send to take the lead 5-4.
Out of nowhere is right, Nick. As
RKO,
I'm not sure
just
anyone
like
saw this
an
coming.
RKO out of nowhere.
Right. If this was the 9th inning, we could have called it a DKO.
Yes.
But still plenty of baseball left to be played as the pitch to Brian Burkhead is in for a called strike 1.
Just a hunch, Joe, but I think the offense is not done yet here. Both sides. There just always seems to be offense in the air here, and errors.
And Burkhead just got a piece.
Officially right now, we got 2 errors.
It's 3. We'll get that changed.
For Mercy, 1 for CSI, but as Joe mentioned, it should be 3. So, a couple unearned runs here. Tough break for Bergio.
Comes the 1-1 to Burkhead. And that's on the outside corner. Now, the scoreboard read 1-1. I had 1-1. That's a called strike 3. So Burkhead is set down looking to bring this half inning to a close, but not before the Dolphins strike for 4 runs and take the lead back. CSI ahead by 1 run for the second time today. Our score now 5-4 heading to the 7th. Let me go fix that.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet, just ahead of first pitch in the 7th, as Kehoe will bounce that one into Ryan Saltzman for ball 1.
So far, Joe, it's been a stupendous start to a doubleheader. Good game here.
No doubt about that. If you're a fan of pitching, there are a lot of zeros up there on the scoreboard, but also if you're a fan of offense, we've had 2 4 spots in this game, so a little bit of everything from the College of Staten Island this afternoon. A back-and-forth affair between the Dolphins and the Mavericks. CSI has taken a 5-4 lead.
Joe, tremendous job by you in between innings to go and check in with our statistician. And as we had told you on the air, 3 errors for Mercy College.
Count on Saltzman even at 2 balls and 2 strikes, but anyone who has listened to any of our broadcasts over the last several years knows that I am adamant about getting the scoring correct, as that's hit out to right field, and Gardner will lose the hat yet again, but still makes the catch for the first out.
Interesting. Might have to get him some sort of contraption, like you see with glasses, to wrap it around the head with his hat to keep it on.
I think his issue, like I said, is that he needs a larger hat to accommodate the hair. But the hair doesn't anchor the hat down well. I'm not sure Jacob deGrom ever had a problem when he had the long hairs. That's bounced to short by Ligori, and he's thrown out for a quick out number 2. And how about Ryan Kehoe right now? He's cruising.
Well, right now, I would assume, Joe, we have around 91 pitches or so.
He's up near 100 now.
This is going to be it for him, I think, this inning.
I think you're right. But the way he's pitching, you might have to at least let him start the next inning, as that's through the legs of Michael Kehoe into the backstop for ball 1 to Jaden Caballero. Caballero's 0 for 3, has flown out 3 times. Comes the 1-0. And that's hit well out to straightaway left. Burkhead giving chase. It's over his head. And that rolls to the base of the wall. Into second base standing is Caballero with a 2-out double as the throw misses the cutoff man. And Caballero will take third.
Poor throw there from Burkhead. As he's been given an error. So an E7 there in the throw to allow the runner to advance. And now the tying run is on third base here. Giblin, not the guy you want up if you're the Dolphins here in this situation. Leading Mercy College coming into the game with a .388 average and 19 RBIs.
Now, do you pitch carefully and potentially...
I think I'd walk him.
Walk the go-ahead run onto base? You would?
I would pitch carefully around him here.
Pitch carefully, yes. Walk him.
Don't give him anything to hit. Behind him is Wooten. Wooten's batting only .247 coming into today.
Perhaps a chance for redemption for Wooten.
Wooten is 1 for 3 today, though.
That ball is fouled away by Giblin for strike 2. So Kehoe ahead of the Mavericks cleanup hitter. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Giblin looking for his second hit of the game and an RBI, which would represent the tying run. Here comes the 1-2 pitch from Kehoe. And that's it out to right center field. Gardner giving chase, and he won't get there. That splits the gap. Gardner plays it on a hop, but that brings home the tying run. It's an RBI double for Nolan Giblin, and the Mavericks have evened up the score at 5.
Just nice job there of hitting by Giblin to knock that one into right center. Splits the gap. Runner could walk in from third. And we have a tie game here.
Well, Durstradamus had it right. Looks like the Dolphins should have walked him. Hindsight is 20/20, but you completely understand why they didn't, as walking the go-ahead run onto base is typically frowned upon, and you can certainly see why, but Giblin one of a couple of batters in this Mercy lineup who is very dangerous. And if the Dolphins had walked him, I don't think either of us would have had a problem with it.
No, I think, if you're going to go after him, don't give him anything to hit. Don't give him anything over the plate that he's able to rip into the gaps, elevate. With a dangerous hitter like that, you need to throw a lot of things off the plate and potentially keep things low.
I think the only mistake in that sequence was he got a pitch that was far too good on 1 and 2, and
yep.
As you saw, he drove it almost all the way to the right center field wall. A chance for redemption here for Robert Wooten as he swings through that 1-1 pitch for strike 2, but Wooten was charged with a pair of errors in the previous half inning. He's behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kehoe looking for a big out here. And he's got it, as that's in for a called strike 3 on the outside corner. The Dolphins starter is fired up. Now, I'm not sure if he was saying something to the home plate umpire, and the Dolphins they are very unhappy, as Stephen Kalika is now jawing at the umpire, and Kehoe was very upset. Now,
what is he upset about? The previous pitch? I mean, he just punched him out to end the inning.
He was certainly upset about something, and Kehoe, I thought, was fired up as a result of the strikeout, but when he was walking off the field, he turned to the home plate umpire and screamed something right in his face. Then Kalika, coming off the field, turned to the home plate umpire and kind of shoot him away with the offhand, so the Dolphins bench may have received a warning, as the home plate umpire is still eyeballing the Dolphin bench. Perhaps we'll have more for you after this break.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet following a very interesting sequence of events to end that last inning. Now, the Dolphins have surrendered the lead. The score is now tied at 5, and once again, CSI will have 9-1-2 due up, just as the last inning got started for the Dolphins. But that previous half inning came to a close with a strikeout of Robert Wooten by Dolphins starting pitcher Ryan Kehoe. Now, as Kehoe was walking off the field, he appeared to be amped up in a positive way, as he had just picked up a big strikeout, and his brother Michael hits one in the air out to right field. Fighting the sun is Ligori, and he makes the catch for the first out. But as I was saying, Ryan appeared to be pumped up in a positive manner after the strikeout. He was coming off the field, and as he crossed the third base line, he turned and screamed something right in the face of the home plate umpire. As Stephen Kalika came off the field, the home plate umpire must have been saying something to Kehoe. Kalika kind of motioned with his hand to shoo the umpire out of the way. And during the break, Mike Morrow was very vocal with his displeasure to his players. So we'll see if that brings it to an end. And that's it on the ground over to short by Jake Myers, and he's thrown out for a quick out number 2.
What Morrow said, and I quote, "Enough! Enough!" That's what he said to his team. We were able to hear it very clearly up here. Your players got to be careful there, because this umpire clearly has some thick skin, because he could have easily tossed Kalika right away.
Oh, Kehoe definitely could have been ejected. Absolutely, Kehoe could have been ejected. Now, I'm not sure if it would have been a big deal since it's likely his day is done. He's well up over 100 pitches now. But who knows what happens in that case in terms of a possible suspension. You never want to see that. But to be completely fair, of course there's no excuse for screaming at an umpire right in his face, as that's blooped foul by Castiglione. That being said, the umpiring in this game has been far from consistent. It has not been consistent throughout this game, and I think both teams have a right to be a little bit upset. You, an umpire, would know. Do you agree with that assessment?
Listen, it's a tough job.
No doubt.
When you do well, nobody cares. Nobody acknowledges you.
I do.
When you do something a little iffy, that's when everyone's going to get on you. And it's a very lonely feeling back there. Now, in that situation...
That's blooped out to shallow center. That could fall. And making a near sliding catch is the center fielder Saltzman, but a good heads-up play as Castiglione tried to advance to second, and that was not wise. So he is tagged out, and the inning is over. The Dolphins do pick up one base hit in the inning as we are going to stay right here. The two teams are going back and forth. Players from both sides screaming across the diamond.
Kalik is out of control right now, and I think Morrow just told him to go to the bench because he was getting ready to jump out. Plus, he just said to get back right now. I don't know what's going on, what could possibly be argued right there. It was pretty. There's nothing wrong there with the umpiring, and Mercy made a great play there to get Kalik out, to get Castiglione out. Kalika is screaming right now the F word a few times. I don't know why, but he's going to run back out there. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll see how this all plays out.
Well, for me, just kind of was the glue that kept my family together, I feel like. I don't know what it was that drew me in, but after I started playing for a while and started seeing some early success as a little kid, to see how much it meant to my parents to see me play the game and try to make a difference was really what fueled me to keep playing and stay competitive. Being a triple major is not necessarily easy, but at the same time it is what you make it. Being a tighter-knit university, I have a lot of classes with the same professors, so they know me pretty well. I think it's that personal relationship that really helped me to thrive as a student. I was able to come here and get my triple major, as well as play a super high level of baseball against some of the best players in the country. There's a lot of options here in Division II with a lot of great ball players and a lot of great people, and they make sure that they give you every opportunity to succeed on and off the field.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet as both teams got fired up at the conclusion of the previous half inning. Nick, what did you see?
I saw a whole lot of hoopla, but I don't know what for, as there was a big brouhaha and ruckus going on the field. Kalika was very heavily involved in that, running towards the other team. Coach Moore told him to go back to the bench, and the other team didn't take very kindly to what Kalika was saying. Kalika came back out of the dugout cursing, believe it himself, and we had the two coaches or the two managers meet with the home plate umpire, and now it's time to get back to some baseball here. So let's see if things continue to get chippy. 5-5 game, top of the 8th. So we'll see how this plays out here over the last 2 innings of this one.
Not to be lost in the extracurricular activities of the last inning or so is that we've had a great ball game to call here today. As you said, Nick, 5-5 our score entering the 8th inning. And not only has this been a great game, this game has been moving on what we mentioned is a very stupendous Saturday afternoon. And
there would be no happier person than you if Game 2 started earlier.
If we can get the quality of baseball we've seen here in Game 1 again in a similar time frame, I would not be opposed to it, as that ball is hit up in the air, foul, and into the seats by Justin Glenister. He's 2 for 3 at the plate, but for those who just tuned in, very quickly, in case you missed it, Dolphins starting pitcher Ryan Kehoe exited the field in the previous half inning and appeared to scream something at the home plate umpire. Now, that's what it appeared was happening. He may have indeed been screaming at the Mavericks bench, perhaps, and the home plate umpire was just caught in the middle. Because if he screamed in the umpire's face, he would have been tossed.
Right, maybe to the bench, he said, take that, blah, blah, blah. That's when Kalika, maybe the umpire said, calm down, take it easy, and Kalika did his little hand wave.
I think that explains a lot, because if Kehoe had screamed in the face of the umpire out of displeasure,
kick him out.
I think there's a good chance he would have been ejected, because he was within about a foot or two of the
Did
home
we
plate
know he
umpire.
wasn't ejected because he's not back in the game? I didn't see.
We don't know
tossed.
that. You're right. We don't know that.
We'll see if we can get the ACC to radio down perhaps at some point. To
I
find
doubt
out.
he was ejected. There was no hand motion, nothing. I don't think he was ejected. I think what happened is he screamed at the Mavericks bench. The home plate umpire told him to calm down, and Kalika shooed the umpire away. I think that explains the situation pretty well. And it bled over into the next half inning. Both teams went back and forth. They were separated. And as you said, back to baseball.
Good job out of us to figure that out. But I've been asking for a long time. Hopefully one day we get a silent reporter. I'd be down there by the dugout, figure out what happened, report back to the booth. But I think we figured it out.
Well, I think that's a great job for the intern, as that is a fair ball down the left field line, out of the reach of Ulaj, and into second base, standing with his third base hit of the game, is Justin Glenister.
Glenister looking to get the boys on the bench pumped up there, giving a little fist pump after that one as he smacks a double, and he's had a tremendous game here today.
That was awfully close down the third base line, and Ulaj had it travel just out of his reach, and Ulaj plays very close to the line. It's surprising that a ball was able to get by him there. James Matatat is the batter. Matatat is 0 for 2, has walked and flown out twice. A base hit here could give his team the lead. It's likely it would. And the first pitch from New Dolphins pitcher Liam Harding is down in the dirt for ball one. And I had the numbers for Harding in front of me waiting for the end of our discussion about what transpired in between innings. But Harding comes in with an ERA of 24, a whip of 2.83. This is his sixth appearance out of the Dolphins bullpen. He's thrown 6 innings, allowed 10 hits, 18 runs, 16 of those earned. He's walked 7 and struck out 6. So he has struggled, to put it mildly. And the 1-0 misses inside for ball 2.
Harding looking to get on the positive side of things here this season and kind of turn a page here for him this season.
I've only covered the Dolphins 3 times this year. Of course, all of those games played here at home. The first 2 broadcasts included 3 games. Today's broadcast will be of 2 games, but this is the 4th Dolphins home game I've covered this year. And Harding has pitched in 3 of them, so Mike Morrow clearly trusts him. But the Dolphins bullpen in a couple of games here at home this year has been a bit problematic. No better example than that game against the Spartans in our last broadcast. And Harding misses with 4 straight to Matatat, who draws his second walk.
Now batting the designated hitter, number 3, Nathan Rodriguez.
I think there's a chance we get a bunt here, Nick.
I was going to say, I think this might be our chance here, as Harding is in all sorts of trouble. Ulaj playing in at third, so he's expecting a bunt.
I'm expecting a bunt, and I like the call in this spot.
Absolutely. Push the go-ahead run over to third.
Rodriguez did not show bunt, and that's in for a called strike 1.
Especially here with the lefty up, you bunt it to first. Well, Kalika's playing too deep if there's going to be a bunt. And at that point, if he pushes it to the right side, got a great shot to get the runner over to third.
Now Rodriguez will square, and he takes out of the zone.
And here comes Kalika running in now.
You're right, Nick. If he bunted down the first base line and got that ball far enough away from home plate, nobody's making that play.
I think right now Kalika needs to be even with the bag if there's going to be a bunt. I think he's too far back.
He's close, but he's right behind Matatat. He has no path to charge, and that's fouled away. Well, it looks like that point is going to be moot now, as the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Rodriguez on the season batting .226 with 2 RBIs.
Big spot here for the Mavericks' designated hitter. At the very least, he wants to move the go-ahead run over to third. Here comes the 1-2, and that misses up and away. Rodriguez looking for his second base hit of the game. He's 1 for 3. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. And that swung on and missed for strike 3. A huge punch out for Liam Harding, and that's the first out of the inning.
Stupendous punch out there. Needed it big time. Harding able to come through with the big strikeout.
That is a huge out for the Dolphins reliever as he looks to keep this game tied. The Mavericks with double digits in the hit column. They have 10. The Dolphins with just 4. But 4 Maverick errors have helped the Dolphins to 5 runs. Frankie Asaro is the batter. He's 0 for 3. No better time than now to break that 0 for him. And that pitch finds the zone for a called strike 2. Oh, 2 the count on the Mavericks' second baseman. Harding looking to make it back-to-back strikeouts with 2 men on. Here comes the 2-strike pitch, and that's fouled away. For the Mavericks this year, their season high in hits. To pull that up, I have it in front of me, or I had it in front of me. Here we go. Season high in hits is 16. Now, that 16-hit game came against the Dolphins yesterday in the scrimmage. Again, that game did not count in the conference standings. But it does go on their record, so technically that is their season high in hits. Outside of that game, their season high is 14. Here comes the 1-2. And that's down in the dirt as Glenister was about 1/3 of the way over to third base.
Harding trying to get out of this jam here, but to close the book on Kehoe, 7 innings pitch, he faced 32 batters, gave up 9 hits, gave up 4 earned runs, 5 runs, 2 base on balls, and 3 strikeouts.
Really 1 inning for Kehoe in that game that went sideways and pitched very well the rest of the way. As that's inside, and it does not appear that Asaro knew the count. That was ball 3.
Plus he thought he got hit, but I think he just didn't know the count.
He could try and play it off and say it grazed his jersey, but...
You know all too well, Joe, about the jersey.
I do. You're right. Someone's been paying attention. 3-2 the count on Asaro. Let's see if the Mavericks send the runners here. They will not. And Asaro is nearly hit by the pitch again. And Harding loses him after getting ahead 0-2.
We'll see if the Dolphins send somebody down to the bullpen, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the case at this point. As Saltzman comes up early with a great game, 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and a walk. So not the guy you want to be facing right now for the Dolphins with the bases loaded.
If this was not game 1 of a doubleheader, I think the Dolphins would have had action in the bullpen after Harding put 2 on to open up the inning. But because this is the first of a pair, I think that's why the Dolphins don't have anybody up in the bullpen. I think they're trying to preserve some pitching for game 2. But Harding's in a tough spot. The Dolphins' infield is in at the corners. Middle infielders playing at double play depth. So Dolphins will try and turn 2 on a ground ball to the middle. Saltzman is behind in the count, 0-1. Harding comes set. Here's the 0-1 pitch. And that catches the inside corner. A good breaking ball is in for a called strike 2.
So your unofficial pitch count, what'd you have Keo at? A little over 100?
We'll double check that
Because you did
now.
mention, maybe they'll send him out again. I mean, he did give up the run, though. But you are trying to save the arms here with the doubleheader.
I had 108 as that pitch is down in the dirt for ball 1.
With 16-inning game, plus it's a tie game here, we could get some extras. You do need to be conservative when it comes to using the arms.
I don't have the Dolphins' schedule in front of me. I know you do. Curious when CSI's next game is. I know when our next game is. That's it on the ground to Kalika. He knocks it down. He's coming home, and the throw pulls. I believe that's Nick Campese behind the plate. It pulled him off of the plate. And the run comes in to score from third. That gives the Mavericks the lead. So I believe Nick Campese is now catching for the Dolphins. I did not hear that change announced. But they had the runner at the plate. Kalika makes a poor throw, and the Mavericks are in front 6-5.
Kalika with the bobble, rushes to throw home, and unsuccessful attempt there. Dolphins' next game is next Friday when they take on Queens College right here at 12 p.m.
A Friday at 12 p.m.?
Friday at 12 p.m., single header.
And that bunt is popped up, and the Dolphins will turn 2. As that throw was a bit high, but it's a 3-3-5 double play on a bunt popped up, and that brings the top half of the 8th to a close. The Dolphins do surrender the go-ahead run, and they trail 6-5.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet as we look to get clarification regarding CSI's next game. The reason I brought that point up is because I was curious as to how conservative the Dolphins would be utilizing their pitchers today, but they don't play for another 6 days, so I would not be surprised if they use a lot of pitchers in Game 2.
Bullpen game.
Now, that being said, as the count is 1-2 on Ulaj. He grounds one through the middle for a base hit as it hits the lip of the outfield grass. Took a weird hop, but no play for Caballero at short. And Ulaj is on to lead off the home 8th. But, Nick, we did have a schedule discrepancy there as well. On our website,
snafu, perhaps.
On our website, it says that we're on the air for 12 p.m. on Friday. We being myself, as I know you can't make a 12 p.m. start. But the Queen's website says 3 p.m., so 3 p.m. is what I'm accustomed to, not noon. As Kalika maybe looking to bunt here. Okay, so 3 o'clock is the correct start time. That seems right.
Going to have an umpire conference here, Joe. I think they're potentially discussing the Kalika go around on the bunt attempt. I don't know. Unless he's saying, let's check something with the pitcher. But doesn't seem to be much come out of that there.
What's the call is the question, as we don't know whether that was a ball or strike.
I think it was a ball.
That is ball 1.
Our statistician, Lewis, awards it a ball.
So Anthony Bergio remains in the game. He's up over 100 pitches now for the Mavericks. There is no action in the Mercy bullpen, so it looks like Bergio may get a chance to go the distance.
What do you think the plan is for Game 2 for the Dolphins? Esposito for 7?
He pitched yesterday, so I highly doubt that. As
Ryan's
bunt
probably going to start.
Is fielded by Bergio, and the sacrifice is successful.
Did not realize that. So I guess I would assume we're going to see Ryan get the start in Game 2.
I would guess it's going to be Gardner.
Okay.
That would be my guess. But you're right, it could be Ryan. I think Ryan has been used more out of the bullpen, if I'm not mistaken. I know you have those numbers in front of you. I have them buried in a stack of papers as well. But
Ryan this season, 4 appearances, 3 starts.
Okay. So I think Gardner has 3 as well.
We saw Ryan out of the pen for a batter, I believe, last time out. Or maybe a full inning.
I think he got an inning. How many starts does Gardner have?
So first on Ryan, 1 inning of relief last time. Nobody allowed with run there. Pat Gardner, 3 appearings, 2 starts.
Okay,
His
so
last start
2.
was against St. Thomas Aquinas on March 26th. He went 4 and a third innings, gave up 4 earned runs, and walked 6.
Speaking of Gardner, he's ahead 2-0 here, where a base hit could tie the game, and he fouls the 2-0 pitch back. So at home against Stack in a 3-game set, Esposito started the first game. I did not catch the beginning of the second game on the Stack stream. I think Gardner did start that game, but I could be wrong. Now, Game 3, I'd be curious to know who started. You can check that in the box score of Game 3 versus Stack, because I think it would come down to either Gardner or whoever started that third game. It might have been Kehoe. I'm sure he got either Game 2 or 3. As Gardner pops that one up, shallow center, Saltzman coming in, and he makes the catch for the second out.
Now batting, the designated hitter, number 19, John Castiglione.
Well, Joe, I don't know if this is totally accurate here, but it looks like Kalika started that game.
That's also possible. I know Gardner started one of the games, so if Kalika started the third game, then they used Esposito, Gardner, and Kalika.
Kalika pitched on 326 against St. Thomas Aquinas. He only went a 1 2/3 innings, so I'm not sure if he got the start or if he just pitched in relief.
I doubt Kalika started, but I will double check. 1-0 is the count on John Castiglione. The tying run still stands over at second, and Castiglione looks at a called strike 1. Kalika does have 1 start, so that could have been it.
Looks like Gardner started in that game.
Okay.
So Kalika was in relief.
So then who started the third game?
Well, this was the third game.
Okay,
so
who started the second game?
I'll check the second.
Yeah, the second game. I know Esposito started 1. Gardner started 1. I wasn't sure who started the last one. And if it was Kehoe, I would presume Gardner starts the second game today. But we'll see. As the count is 1-2 on Castiglione, he fouls back another one.
Well, Joe, Gonzalez started that game. The second game.
That's right.
3 innings pitched in that one. Gonzalez, Adam Gonzalez, on the season, he has started 3 games, appeared in 5.
Okay, so a lot of options for the Dolphins as we tried to narrow it down.
I think we'll narrow it down to Ryan or Gardner. That would be my guess. I hope we know before the pregame, though.
The stats don't help us because there's a bunch of Dolphins pitchers who have started at least 3 games that have not been used in the last 24 hours. So I thought we could easily narrow it down. That did not happen. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count on the Dolphins' designated hitter, and Castiglione takes up and away for ball 2. Dolphins down to their final 4 outs, trailing by just 1. No action in the CSI bullpen, so it looks like Liam Harding will come back out for the 9th inning as Castiglione chases way out of the zone for strike 3. So the Dolphins strand the tying run at second base. They are down to their last 3 outs. The Mavericks will be looking for some insurance when we come back for the 9th.
Car is damaged. Where you take it is your decision. But insurance companies would like you to think otherwise. While they may have a lot of pull, it may not always be in the best interest of your car. Your car will be fixed right and on time. What insurance company can argue with that?
Call Dependable Auto Body at 718-447-4899.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Liam Harding returns to the mound for the College of Staten Island in the top half of the 9th inning. The Dolphins trail by 1 run, 6-5, and will be down to their final 3 outs when they come to bat in the home half of this last inning. But the Mavericks will try to add to their lead first. They will have 3, 4, and 5 due up in the top half of the 9th. Jaden Caballero, the first batter for Mercy College, and that breaking ball sails about 2 feet over Caballero's head for ball 1.
Dolphins here have to do whatever it takes to keep this a 1-run game heading into the bottom of the 9th.
That pitch is fouled straight back. Caballero is 1 for 4 in the game. He's flown out 3 times and doubled. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. And that catches the inside corner for a called strike 2. Liam Harding had to work very hard in the previous inning through 27 pitches. 14 of those for strikes. Here comes his 1-2. And that is chopped foul.
For the Dolphins, next inning, Cipoletti will be up. We do know that he has that home run power. So keep it a 1-run game, and things could change with one swing of the bat.
7, 8, and 9 are due up for the Dolphins in the bottom of the 9th. And Harding's breaking ball hits Caballero. That sounded like it hit the bat.
Undoubtedly.
Now, on top of that, Caballero made absolutely no effort to get out of the way. And we'll see it on the replay. But that sounded like the bat. Now, it may have been the plastic elbow guard, as Caballero was indicating. And it's a hit by pitch. So the infield umpire rules hit by pitch. What did you see on the replay?
Well, we'll slow it down a little here. Very tough, this angle in live action.
The third baseman, number 9.
So good job there to confer with the field umpire. Here comes the pitch. And it hit the elbow guard.
Okay.
So
that was plastic,
good
not
call.
aluminum. Good call. With that, the Mavericks have the leadoff man on in the 9th inning in search of some insurance. And Nolan Giblin is the batter. He had a big double his last time up. And they'll check on the runner at first. Caballero once again. And the runner is going. Throw by Campese, sails into center field. And Caballero will take third. And the Dolphins throw to third. Only bad things could have happened there.
Campese's throw does sail there. And you have to wonder if Giblin showing bunt confused the Dolphins there.
Perhaps. As the Dolphins will bring the infield in all around. They're not going to concede any runs. That's a big insurance run. 90 feet away for the Mavericks. Their lead is 6-5 as that's swung on and missed by Giblin. 0-2 the count on the Mavericks' third baseman. A fly ball would be good enough to give his team a 2-run lead. And that pitch is downstairs. One ball and 2 strikes the count. Harding comes set. And the pitch is on its way. And once again, that's in the dirt, but the runner will hold as Campese chases it down.
Good job by the Campese there to get a hold of that one, to not allow the runner to take off for the plate.
The Dolphins have been all over the place pitching. A lot of wild pitches, some pass balls mixed in. And those extra bases add up. 2-2 the count. And Harding's pitch is chopped foul.
Right now, the story, Joe, in this one is that Mercy College has doubled the amount of hits that the Dolphins have. Dolphins held to 5 hits with 5 runs. Mercy, 10 hits, 6 runs, 4 errors apiece.
And that is pulled foul. So Giblin making Harding work once again. Harding is nearing 40 pitches. And there is still no action in the Dolphins' bullpen.
Bergio likely going back out there for the 9th.
Just like Kehoe, Bergio had one bad inning as Harding catches the outside corner with the breaking ball for strike 3 called.
Huge strikeout there for Harding. Bergio today, 8 innings pitched so far, 5 hits, 5 runs, only 3 earned to go along with those 4 errors. 2 balls, base on balls, and 7 strikeouts. So pretty solid line for him so far. And he, as you mentioned, over 100 pitches.
If you had told me he would make it to the 9th inning, especially after a very tumultuous 6th, I would have been very surprised, but it looks like he will come out and try and record the final 3 outs. We'll see. Mavericks hoping to give him a bit of a bigger cushion as they lead by just 1, and Robert Wooten is ahead in the count, 1-0. He's 1 for 4 at the plate. Once again, a fly ball should be good enough to score the run from third. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's downstairs for ball 2.
Now, Joe, if you're Mercy, wouldn't you want to have somebody just warming up in case Bergio gets in some trouble there in the 9th?
I would. I say why not?
We saw it bite the Dolphins last time out here in the home game with the issues with the pitcher warming up versus not warming up.
We spoke about it. The issue is that they warmed the pitcher up, sat him down, warmed him up, sat him down, brought him back to the dugout, and brought him into the game.
Straight from the dugout.
No. And that happens every once in a while. That's not an outlandish occurrence to bring a pitcher in from the dugout, as that pitch is in for a called strike one to Wooten. But after warming up and sitting down twice, we speculated that it could be an issue, and ultimately the lead was squandered, and the Dolphins lost that game by 2. As Wooten draws the walk. Now, do the Dolphins move the middle infield back? They will. So they'll play at double play depth.
Now batting the catcher, number 5, Justin Glenister.
Glenister's had a great game here today. I know you probably hate this, but I wouldn't be opposed to potentially pitching around him here, get the force at the plate with the next batter up. I wouldn't be giving Glenister anything good here to hit.
I don't hate that at all. The reason I wouldn't do it is because Harding has had trouble throwing strikes. That's the problem. And Campese able to block. The runner is coming home, and the throw is not in time. What a great read by Caballero over at third. I did not think that a run would score on that, but Caballero immediately broke for the plate. Wooten takes second, and the Mavericks get the insurance run and lead 7-5.
Caballero there showing why a secondary lead is so important there. Broke on instinct there and was able to score. I think he caught Harding off guard there that he was coming home to the plate to try to score.
Great base running by the Mavericks shortstop, and they now lead by 2. And that's case in point right there why you can't walk the batter, as Harding has just been all over the place, and he misses up high for ball 2. Harding came into the game with a team leading 8 wild pitches. That last one was number 9. And the 2-0 is inside for ball 3. Throw behind the runner. And it's going to be tough to see, but if we can get a replay on that, that was awfully close. The wide shot makes it hard to see second base, but in between the next 2 pitches, we'll get a look. Myers certainly thought that may have been an out.
Tough to say.
Yeah, definitely at full speed. Once upon a time, we had a camera behind the center field wall.
Good times.
Technology just hasn't come far enough yet. For
How did you have a wire to run that?
We didn't. It was wireless.
Oh, wow.
We had a receiver, and it was unreliable at best, but we did have full games where that camera operated, and you can go back and watch those broadcasts on the CSI Sportsnet YouTube channel. They are there. As that is fouled back by Glenister. He just got a piece.
See, what I always thought we should do is get a live person to be the camera person on top of a dugout. Follow along with the play-by-play. Might be difficult, especially at the wind tier, but that'd be pretty dynamic.
I'll tell you right now, nobody is signing up for that job. Now, if we have an intern who is assigned that job, that's a different story.
I know a former soccer videographer that might sign up for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's welcome, as that pitch misses inside for ball 4, and Glenister is on with a 1-out walk.
Now
I think
the first baseman,
the next step
10,
would be
Matutak.
a camera operated by an individual throughout the games. Now, for baseball, that opens up a lot of possibilities, following the action, following a base runner, focusing on the pitcher. We would need to get the camera operator a headset to follow what we're talking about.
Sure.
And then they can follow the action accordingly. But that's a big step in a direction that I don't think we're headed right now, as Harding catches the low outside corner.
Potentially
with the
next
pitch.
year we will have the camera operator in front of us outside the glass. They can listen to us and they could maneuver the camera back and forth.
We tried that in the past and it did not go well.
I guess it all depends on the skill set of the videographer.
It depends largely on the individual behind the lens. That is for sure, as that pitch is blocked by Campese, and another wild pitch allows the runner to advance to third. Now, the Dolphins, as I mentioned before, had nobody warming up in the bullpen to open up this inning. The bullpen is still empty. Harding is over 50 pitches. At what point do you get someone warming up, or do you allow this game to potentially get away?
I think the point to get somebody up has passed.
I think you're right. But this game could very well get away from CSI with an extra base hit here. In terms of innings for CSI, Harding's right in the middle of the pack, so he's gotten his share of work. And the runner is going from first. Attempted bunt, fouled back.
Suicide squeeze there.
Yeah. Why not? 3-run lead against a team that's only mustered 5 hits. The Mavericks really hurt themselves in the field with the 4 errors, but were it not for those 4 defensive miscues, they could be up by another run or 2. And the 1-2 just missed. And Harding consulting with the home plate umpire, asking if that was down. And I would think that it was either down or away. That pitch was close. Here comes the 2-2. And that's swung on and missed by Matatat for strike 3.
Matatat goes down swinging there, and that's going to bring up Nathan Rodriguez up.
Nathan Rodriguez.
We did see Rodriguez attempt a bunt before ultimately swinging away.
Well, now, if Harding is able to get the third out right here, that wild pitch and the good base running that followed by Caballero allowed the Mavericks to scratch out a run in this inning. We'll see if Harding can get this out, but without that wild pitch, that run doesn't score. Assuming, of course, it didn't score on that previous wild pitch that occurred just a couple of pitches ago. 2 wild pitches in the inning for Harding. I think that's when the game of baseball gets tough to watch, when you have wild pitches, errors, and simple miscues in the field or on the bases that allow runs that otherwise wouldn't to score. And I know that frustrates managers as well.
I don't think there's anything that managers hate more than when they see their players throwing the ball away in errors, and we did see that here today.
We've seen players out in the field throwing it away and pitchers throwing it away as Rodriguez gets drilled with that pitch and the bases are loaded.
Rodriguez appears to be okay, but he took that one hard. Looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter here.
Pinch hitter for Mercy College is Jared Hernandez.
Jared batting .225 on the season, and he has 6 runs scored, 9 hits, a double, and 2 RBIs in 40 at-bats, slugging .250 this season, but bases loaded here, so a golden opportunity for him.
Now, I would say this is an out that the Dolphins have to have, but there's a grand slam swing by Hernandez, who comes up empty for strike 1. That being said, the Spartans were trailing by 5 last time we covered CSI Dolphins baseball, and they scored 7 in the 9th. So these ECC games are not over until the final out is recorded, as Harding misses down and away for ball 1. It's hard to believe that Harding has thrown at least 60 pitches out of the Dolphins bullpen in 1 2/3. Here comes the 1-1, and that's fouled away. Harding 1 strike away from stranding the bases loaded and sending his team to the bottom of the 9th, trailing by 2 runs.
Cipoletti, Burkhead, and Campese up for the Dolphins in the bottom of the 9th. Campese batting 179, Cipolleti 197. And Burkhead is batting 167 on the season.
Ahead of that last pitch, I was about to say that Harding can't afford to waste one. He cannot run this count full. Needs to attack here and make Hernandez beat him. Now we'll see if Hernandez is ready for that up at the plate. And he did attack with a fastball. That's chopped foul. That's the right approach here. If you're Harding, you can't afford to run this count full. And in terms of wasting a pitch on 1 and 2, you can't risk a wild pitch, as we've seen a couple of those already in this inning. The count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. The Mavericks have the bases loaded. Pinch hitter Jared Hernandez at the plate, and he takes outside. Well, Nick, I don't think walking halfway off the field helps Harding.
No, it definitely doesn't help, but also what I will point out is throwing a pitch on the outside corner to a lefty is one of the toughest pitches for the home plate umpire to read. Reason being is you're told to line up on the inside, and most of the time you are lining up on the inside to righties, so you don't see that too often. And then when you're going across, it's very difficult to see those outside corners.
3-2 pitch was fouled away by Hernandez. And the outcome of this at bat could go a long way towards determining the outcome of this game. Here comes another 3-2. And that is downstairs for ball 4.
Umpire calling timeout here. I think it's just because he needs new balls. No argument there from the Dolphins bench.
No, that was certainly low. And Harding sees his struggles continue. He's now walked 5 in just 1 2/3 innings. No relief in sight for the Dolphins right-hander. And Ryan Saltzman, the Mavericks leadoff hitter, comes to the plate. He's 2 for 4, and a base hit here breaks this game wide open.
Saltzman today having a good game, one of the better of his season, and looking to break this wide open here.
Judging by the way that the Dolphins' bullpen has been managed in this game, I would suspect that we see one Dolphins pitcher each inning in the next game. I think that's the plan.
7 pitchers ready to go for game 2?
I think that's the plan. And the 0-2 pitch is off the outside corner. I can't imagine any other reason the Dolphins wouldn't have warmed a pitcher up behind Harding. And as I said during our last broadcast, these teams often come in with a very structured plan for their pitching. And you don't see managers break away from that too often.
Yeah, that's something I really can't get used to. This isn't a spring training game here. You got to get a feel of the game and see what's happening and play situational baseball here. If someone's throwing balls or getting blown up with a bunch of hits, you need to be able to have somebody ready in the reserves.
And that is swung on and missed by Saltzman for strike 3. So Harding does strand the bases loaded, but the Mavericks, without the benefit of a hit, score 2 runs and now lead CSI 8-5, heading to the bottom half of the 9th inning.
You Know 'Em Right is the podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, entertainment, and pop culture. On the show, hosts Nick and Joe walk guests through the retelling of their humble beginnings, covering an array of topics from specific interests and hobbies to personal opinions regarding each facet of their industry. You Know 'Em Right offers insight on how to adapt and advance, and offers alternative advice as opposed to a one-size-fits-all strategy. Above all else, the number one goal of You Know 'Em Right is to offer listeners an exclusive behind-the-scenes vantage point not found anywhere else through its increasing list of professional connections. With a following that continues to grow daily, You Know I'm Right is transforming into a must-listen podcast in the right place at the right time. Find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. You do not want to miss an episode of You Know I'm.
And we are back from the College of Staten Island now. We speculated that Anthony Bergio would come out and pitch the ninth inning. He has not come out to pitch the ninth, as we have a new pitcher. And for the Mavericks, it will be Kazari Jocelyn coming out of the Mercy bullpen, and he will take over on the mound for the ninth inning.
Well, Bergio, maybe they felt he just sat too long there, couldn't get things back warmed up.
Well, if you take a look at the numbers for Jocelyn, you can see why he's the man coming out of the Mercy bullpen. He has an ERA of 2.61 across 6 appearances, all in relief. He has a whip of .87, a record of 2-1. In 10 1/3 innings, he's allowed 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 of those earned. He's walked 3, struck out 7, allowed just 1 extra base hit. That was a double. 36 opposing batters are hitting .167 against him. He comes into the game looking for his second save of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. No stranger to coming in relief, as you mentioned. All appearances in relief. Does have the save here. Looking to slam the door. The graduate student who is an exercise science major from Brooklyn, New York, looking to get the save here for his team.
You said it in the previous half inning. 7-8-9. Cipolletti, Burkhead, Campisi due up for the Dolphins as they are down to their final 3 outs. And Cipolletti takes up high for ball 1. He's 0 for 2 with the sacrifice fly in the game. And the 1-0 is outside for ball 2. I would suspect Cipolletti is taking all the way here, and I would be wrong as that's skied out to left field. Wooten fighting the sun, and he makes the catch for out number 1. Were you surprised to see him swing, Nick?
No, he's a free swinger, so I don't think he should have swung, but he was looking to hit it.
I'm surprised he had the green light. Down 3 runs, down to your last 3 outs on the 2-0 count. And Brian Burkhead takes a called strike 1. Burkhead is 0 for 3, has struck out twice and flew out. We spoke about how well this game was moving along. Not so in the later innings as Burkhead takes out of the zone for a ball. We're at the 2-hour and 40-minute mark right now. Once again, this game is the first of 2 between these 2 teams. Game 2 coming up in approximately 20 to 30 minutes following the conclusion of this game.
I'm going to say we get a 3:10 first pitch.
Assuming this game comes to a close in this half inning, I think that would be accurate. Comes the 1 and 2, and that's down and in.
Nick Pavoda will make his baseball color debut.
That's right.
Joining the booth for game 2.
Nick did a good job over at softball earlier in the week. Doubled as my color commentary and our engineer. And I watched the broadcast back. I'm not sure he missed a single replay. Every hit, every strong play in the field, anything.
Always tough over there with the Wi-Fi as well.
We got that taken care of, thankfully, as Burkhead grounds one to short. Caballero has it and throws out the Dolphins' left fielder for the second out. But we did have 2 advantages the other day that you typically have not had in the past. We had a tent, which provided shade, and we had the Wi-Fi worked on by IT, and it is functioning at a higher level than I've ever seen. So we appreciate their help with that. Shout out to our friends and colleagues in the IT department getting to work on the internet down at softball for us.
Excellent job by the IT to get that resolved, which is great.
I think we were in the 30s upload speed, which for us, based on what we've seen in the past, is remarkable. Happy to see that. As the Dolphins now are down to their final out, Thomas Martin will be the pinch hitter for CSI. Dolphins have some work to do to get the tying run to the plate as Martin swings through that fastball for strike one. Here comes the 1-1 pitch, and that's down and in for ball two. The 2-1 pitch on its way. And that's hit hard on the ground to short, and it gets by Caballero and into left center field. Martin will stop at first, and that has to go down as an error. But I was hesitant for a second as that ball was hit hard, but the error does go up on the scoreboard. That is the fifth Mavericks error in the game.
Jake Myers.
That ball was smoked, so pretty tough there in the error, but it did go between the legs. Top of the order now here. Dolphins staying alive. Down 3-8-5 with the bottom of the ninth.
I could have seen that call going either way, but I think error is the right ruling, as that is fouled dangerously close to our batter's cam. It's not easy to clear that backstop on the line without clearing the roof, too. And that one managed to do just that. Here comes the 0-1. And Myers hits one in the air out to straightaway right. Ligori is there, and he makes the catch to bring the first game of our ECC doubleheader to an end. The Dolphins drop game one by a score of 8-5. CSI held to only 5 hits in the game. For the Mavericks, 8 runs on 10 hits, 5 errors. For the Dolphins, 5 runs on 5 hits and 4 errors. As we mentioned before, our second game will get started in approximately 20 to 30 minutes. This has been Joe Foreman on the call alongside Nick Durst. And for Game 2, I will be joined by Nick Bavona on the call for CSI Dolphins Baseball. Game 2 of our East Coast Conference doubleheader coming up next. Stay right here. When you hear the sound of my voice again, we're back for Dolphins Mavericks Game 2.